Hello, welcome to this review. In this game we'll have a look at a game where white forgot to develop his king. In other words, he left it in the center, he neglected his development and therefore got in trouble quite early on. So let's take a look. Started as a Spanish, e6, bishop e4, b5. This is one of the variations, bishop b3, knight f6. This is all fine, d4. And here, although d4 is a good move, to play this move correctly, white has to know what to do next. And black took. And here white made a mistake by naturally recapturing on d4. And this comes down to the somewhat well-known Noah's Ark trap, which involves, well, not bishop b7, which involves taking on d4 after white takes back after c5, which is not a positionally desirable move, though c5 concretely works because c4 is the next move. Here white isn't losing a piece yet because of queen e5, bishop e7, and now white has time to get rid of this threat, but however he does it, black will be on top because the next move will come with tempo on the e4 pawn. Also, this queen is not very well placed. Black can castle, put the rook on e8. Also, c4 is the main threat. For example, c4, d6. The queen has to move again. Black can develop like this, or with bishop e7, and black is on top because he has better development. So, although natural, white shouldn't have recaptured here. The main move is castling, and maybe c3 later, or play e5, and use the fact that black's king is in the center. This is usually how they play. Here black didn't use his chance, he put a bishop on b7. White took, black took back, f3. And here, instead of f3, probably white should either develop some pieces with knight c3. In general, we need to have a habit of solving our issues with development. So for example, if the pawn is attacked and we have a choice between moving a pawn and moving a piece, we should probably move a piece, or at least get rid of the problem with tempi by playing e5. Said f3. Now black gives this check, which doesn't really amount to much because of bishop d2, and now black has to go bishop c5, so instead he could have just went here in one move. Now white continues development, white black castles, bishop g5, so black is trying to get developed. He should probably castle queenside, since castling kingside is quite difficult unless we get to play bishop e3 soon. h6, bishop h4. Now black gets very aggressive with g5, although this aggression is not very correct. The bishop is going to f2 anyway to block this diagonal, at least it should, so there's no reason to weaken our king side with a move which doesn't really inconvenience white. Instead, black should probably develop the queen. This threatens d5, and also maybe a5, a4 at some point is an idea. For example, here queen d2, we can play b4 when the knight can't really go here, though maybe it can, or a5, and white will castle queenside, but our attack will be a bit faster. In the game, as what happened, g5, white won bishop g3, but the bishop isn't really doing much there. He should try to exchange these bishops, and for example, if black takes, white will castle artificially and these pawns will never go back. This is a weak square, this is an easy target for white, and white is a little bit better. And here knight h5 is played. Again, instead black should probably just develop his pieces, or at least go for some concrete threats with a5, a4 and b4. Knight h5. Now white makes a very strange move, bishop d5, and there was a question of why this would be a mistake. Well, firstly, we should try to answer the question of why this would be a good move, because it doesn't really create any threats. Well, I guess it creates the threat of exchanging queens here, but that's quite easy to deal with queen f6, as what happened. And now, whenever white takes, this will be also a mistake, because it opens the d file. And in general, what white did is just move his bishop twice to exchange it for a bishop that hasn't moved that many times. And now the position has opened up, black developed his queen. So white didn't really achieve much in the last few moves. And now he is in big trouble, because his queen will be attacked next move, and his king is perpetually in the center. So instead of bishop d5, white should have gone with development, maybe put the queen on d3, castle queenside, and the game will go on. For example, here a4, bishop d5. Black's attack is starting earlier, but white's attack is also nothing to be not afraid of. So bishop d5. Now this helps black. White doubles the pawns, and technically white can even kind of win a pawn here. He can also try to say that he has a majority here on the king side, but all of this is irrelevant, because at the moment what's relevant is the white king, who is in the center. So now white plays queen d7, but this just aggravates the problem. Rook a d8, queen c7. Black takes the knight, allowing the queen to come back, but after something like queen d4, it's very difficult not to lose in a few moves for white, because the main threat is maybe taking here, or maybe going here and here. Sometimes bishop b6 is an idea to miscoordinate white's pieces, but either way white is already busted here. Queen d4 is played. The last chance was to take back with the queen to get some more defenders, but after this queen d4, there's really no way to stop checkmate, and white's lack of development has told at the end of the game.